हरे कृष्णा। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So I'm very grateful to be here. Extremely sorry that I could not prepare much. Last evening I was at governor's house, and so they, so so all the ministers and governor, the chief minister were there, and they installed air conditioned. It was too cold, so I just got some cold. Plus, because of the delay in prasadam, so I had some gas issues. So last night I was vomiting, and whole day today I was having some fever. So I was taking rest, and I just woke up. I thought that already 5:30 has passed. So then I saw my watch. So it was
No,
stressful.
no worries, Prabhu. No worries. Thank you so much. And you can handle it. You're everyday practicing, demonstrating, so you can explain Balram's glories.
So every year we celebrate this unique festival, Balaram Purnima, and we discuss about the glories of Lord Balaram. So we all know this word Balaram comes from Bala and Ram. Bala means strength and Ram means pleasure. But in context of Lord Balaram, here Bala means not just physical strength, but it also means the spiritual strength. And when one has spiritual strength, one can always be in pleasure. So Ram means pleasure and Bala means spiritual strength. So anyone who has mercy of Lord Balaram is profusely filled with Bala, the spiritual strength, and then he can happily sustain, and so that is called Rama. Actually, this Bala is very important because spiritual strength, without spiritual strength, we cannot control our senses and mind. And unless and until we cannot control our senses and mind, we cannot be happy in this world. Just yesterday, a kind of a uh, mishappening happened. So we are maintaining a center right in front of IIT Bhubaneswar. So we are also running a small restaurant, and here one staff he uh, um, like dealt with some girls in a misappropriate manner. So immediately we had to call a meeting and we have to investigate him, fire him out. And then I was contemplating, just see, a small mishappening can create havoc. He lost his job immediately. It's only because a person cannot control his mind and senses because of the lack of spiritual strength, and the result is it's a havoc is in their lives. So how much difficult it is when we go out for this prison preaching, and we meet prisoners in jail preaching, we meet prisoners and we try to find out that how you are here. So they say that I became too angry and I killed a person, and I became too lusty. I raped a woman. And as a result, my entire life is now spoiled. And for years and years, I am rotting here in jail. So at that moment, we actually understand that until and unless our mind and senses are not controlled, how much difficult phase we are in. And to control this mind and senses, we require bala, we require strength. And this bala comes from Lord Balaram. It is said that Lord Balram is the original guru, and his mercy is that one get strength to overcome overcome and to control the urges of mind and senses. Uh, it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Shakanoti yah sodum prak sharir vimokshanath kama krodha udbhavam vegam sa yukta sa sukhi nara. Now, Krishna here in this verse is not saying that you just stop. There should not be any kama, there should not be any krodha, because the kama and krodha has their own utility, but it should be regulated. Sometimes we see this fan, there are regulators. Now, when these regulators they stop functioning, so although in regulator there are different numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and accordingly the fan speed alters. But when the regulator is not functioning, so fan, even it is on 1 or 5, the fan is running on the same speed. That means the regulator has malfunctioned. Similarly, in our life, when the regulators malfunctions, then our life becomes critical. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that these regulations are meant to regulate the conditioned nature of the spirit soul. We all are conditioned, but immediately we cannot come out of our conditioning. But these regulations are meant to control the conditioned nature, to regulate the conditioned nature. And to follow these regulations, again, we require strength. This strength comes from Lord Balaram. Once upon a time, there was a sadhu, and someone approached the sadhu and said that, Gurudev, I'm feeling too much lusty. So can you please tell, like, what's the remedy? So the sadhu, he was sitting, and he took some rice in his hand, and he showed, and like this he was pouring the rice. So the disciple could not understand. He went to the senior disciples and asked that, when I asked Guruji that I'm suffering from lust, and he took rice and he started pouring it. So what does it mean? The senior disciples explained, the Guruji want to tell that even if we consume what we call, even we consume one handful of palm full of rice, then the effect is will naturally have lust. Another disciple went to Gurudev and asked the same question, Gurudev, I am feeling too much lusty. What should I do? So Guruji took a handful of ash and showed him. Again, he could not understand what Guruji wants to say. He went to the senior disciples and asked. So senior disciple said, Guruji want to say, until unless you don't become ash, that means you'll give up your body and your body will burn, cremated. Till that extent, you'll naturally face the urges of mind and senses. So we require strength to control our mind and senses, to regulate our conditioning. And that strength comes from Lord Balaram. And therefore, he is called the original Guru. Now, any pastimes that we refer to has basically, we have to read or understand any pastime in two platforms. One is that in context with Lord Krishna, and other is context with conditioned soul. Just like Lord Balaram, he is the original Guru. And what is the function of Guru? In context with the Lord Krishna, the function of Guru is to serve him. And therefore, Gurudev is called Sevak Bhagwan. Lord Krishna is Sevya Bhagwan, the Bhagwan who takes service. Whereas Gurudev is called Sevak Bhagwan, the Bhagwan who gives service. So similarly, Lord Balaram, he is also called Sevak Bhagwan because he serves Lord Krishna and set an example for all of us that how we should serve Krishna. So similarly, now just like Balaram, Gurudev has this function to serve Krishna and to engage others in service of Krishna. In context with Lord Krishna, in context with conditioned soul, Gurudev gives instructions so that a conditioned soul can become attracted towards Lord Krishna and can become fixed up in service of Lord Krishna. Similarly, Lord Balaram carries a plough. And what is the function of this plough? Actually, Lord Krishna carries flute, and the function of flute is to attract the conditioned souls. Lord Krishna, he plays the flute and attracts the conditioned souls. While Lord Balram carries a plow. And what this plow means that for farmers they carry plow. And what they do, they plow the field and then they put the grain, they put the seed, and then seed fructifies into fruits, into plants and fruits. Similarly, the function of Guru uh, is to plow the field of heart of a devotee, of a disciple, and install the seed of devotional service. Therefore, it is said, Brahman Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasate Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. Bhakti Lata Bij, Bij means seed, and the function of Guru is to plow the field of our heart and install the seed of bhakti. Now, interestingly, this since because our field of heart is very dry, and when Gurudev with his plow or Adi Guru Balaram with his plow, when they plow the field, the dry field, there is always some friction. And as a result of that friction, uh, there is immense pain when a disciple has to regulate himself and follow the instructions of Gurudev. Therefore, we see because the more conditioned we are, it becomes difficult for us to follow the instructions of spiritual master. Because spiritual master, by his instructions, he is actually plowing the field of our heart. And this entire episode of plowing is not very conducive. It's not very entertaining. It's always painful. But that is how the spiritual master acts. By instructions, spiritual master plows the field of a disciple's heart. It is painful naturally, but somehow he installs the seed of devotional service. And then by his instructions, he actually nourishes that seeds. And devotee has to take it very seriously. And this is how this seed fructifies into Bhakti Lata and finally goes to Golok Vrindavan and bears the fruit. So that is how it has been explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, we see that Lord Balaram, as per Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained that Lord Balaram expands himself. Actually, Lord Balaram is the first expansion of Lord Krishna. And he, in order to serve Lord Krishna in various capacities, he expands himself. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhant explains very nicely that there are five rasas. Srila Prabhupada, in his introduction to Bhagavad Gita, he mentions about these five rasas: the Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. And Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that Lord Balaram expands himself into all the five rasas and serves Lord Krishna. Like he expands accordingly so that he can serve Lord Krishna in all the five rasas. Say, for example, uh, Ananga Manjari, it is said Lord Balaram expands into Ananga Manjari and gives pleasure to Lord Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. Similarly, being the elder brother of Lord Krishna, he is always the protector of Lord Krishna in Vatsalya Rasa. And as a friend, as a brother and a friend, he's always there with Krishna and happily engages in different pastimes and serves him in um, friendship, Sakhya Rasa. So this is how we see that Lord Balaram expands himself into different capacities and serves him in different rasas. In fact, in Shant Rasa, he expands as Lord Krishna's bed, as Ananta Shesha, as Lord's slippers and fan. And this is how he serves Lord Krishna in different capacity. So uh, now there are interesting correlations. Balaram means Bala means strength and Ram means pleasure. And because Lord Balaram is engaging directly into service of Lord Krishna in different rasas, so he's setting this correlation that one receives the strength to overcome the urges of mind and senses and feels transcendental pleasure when they are engaged in Lord Krishna's service into different rasas. Until and unless one is not engaged in service of Lord Krishna, there is no hope that one can, there's no way that one can actually control their mind and senses. And finally, there is no way that one can actually derive transcendental pleasure. Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very interesting conversation between Vyasadeva and Narad Muni, where Narad Muni says that those who are yogis, they practice different yogasanas, and they actually torment their bodies to larger extent. They perform lots of austerities. But what happened? Uh, they are not able to control their mind and senses for so long. And therefore, we see in scriptures there are varieties of examples of yogis uh, with the slightest agitation, with the slightest, um, you know, uh, environment which can create an impetus of kama and krodha, the yogis succumb to it. The reason why they succumb to is because they, although by their own strength, they are trying to control their mind and senses, but because of the lack of spiritual pleasure that comes from the relationship with the Lord, the result is they are not able to maintain their principles for so long. Result being they fall down. Now, in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, there is a very beautiful prayers by the demigods in the womb called Garbhastuti. And we hear the very famous verse that Srila Prabhupada often quotes, Ye anya arvindaksh विभुक्तमानिना त्वयि असद्भावाद् अविशुद्ध बुद्धया आरुहा कृच्छेन परम padam ततः पतन्ति अधः अनाद्रयात् युष्मात् अंग्रया. The demigods are actually playing that, O Arvindaksh, O Lord Krishna, Vimukta Maninaha, there are categories of transcendentalists or so-called transcendentalists. They consider themselves Vimukta. Vimukta means perfectly liberated. Vimukta Maninaha, the word Maninaha means they assume as if they are liberated. And Asad Bhavad Avishuddha Buddhaya. This because of their Avishuddha Buddhya, because of their polluted intelligence, their polluted consciousness, they carry this Asad Bhava, and the Asad Bhava is that without even worshipping your lotus feet, they consider that they are perfectly liberated. Now, when we refer to so many transcendentalists available on YouTube, most of them claim that I don't worship Krishna. Who is Krishna? Krishna is just like us, and we also, with certain capabilities, can come to the on same platform like that of Rama and Krishna. So there is no need to worship or to surrender to Lord Krishna. That is what their thesis and philosophy is. And next question, when you ask them, people ask them, the disciples ask them, my dear Gurudev, can you please tell us about your next life? Or he said that this is my last life, and I'm going to get liberated. Very profoundly, and very, even when practitioners of Krishna consciousness never say like that. Although for them the liberation is guaranteed. Hmm. Even if they don't practice Krishna consciousness perfectly, Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yogo Bhrashto Abhijayate. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that even if a devotee falls down from his practice, next life is perfectly guaranteed that at least they'll, after rejoicing in the planets of heavenly abodes of demigods, uh, they will come down and they'll take birth in Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe in the families of a rich community or Brahminical community, and as a result they can continue their Krishna consciousness where they have left. But even if you ask a genuine devotee, so a genuine devotee say that, see, I haven't practiced Krishna consciousness, I am going to hell. Out of humility they say like this. And these people, they have zero Krishna consciousness, but they say Vimukta Maninaha. We are going to get liberated in next life. Don't worry. So that is how they claim. Anad, and so demigod said, even if this category of people Aruha Krichena Param Padam Tata, even if they reach to the highest understanding of spirituality, or what we call, if they reach to the yogic perfection, and if they reach to some kind of impersonal samadhi or whatever they consider to be the highest, even if they reach patanti adaha, they fall down. And why they fall down? Because Anadrayat Yushmat Angriya, because they have disregarded your lotus feet. They have disregarded your lotus feet. Now, the immediate next verse says, Tatha nate madhav tavaka kochit bharshanti marga tvai baddha sauhrida. My dear Lord, but sometimes we see that even the devotees fall down from their position. But when devotees fall down from their position, they are not never blasphemed in scriptures. They're not even, scriptures doesn't comment much about them. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Vishwamitra Muni or Shaubri Muni, when they fell down, scriptures announce their fall down and give case studies in different scenarios. But when Bharat Maharaj fell down, or when Chitraketu Maharaj fell down, when these personalities fell, or when these personalities fell down, the Shastra does not speak much about their falling down. In fact, their falling down is always glorified. When King Indradum fell down and came as Gajendra, his falling down, or when Nalkuvar Manigriv they fell down, so their falling down is not much blasphemed and criticized. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, it is because they have taken to Krishna consciousness, their falling down, their comeback will be that they'll have 100 times more love for Krishna when they'll have another comeback. That is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. That means Chitraketu Maharaj, when he came as Vrittasur, has had 100 times more bhakti than as he had in Chitraketu's body. When uh, King Indradum came as Gajendra and he was caught by crocodile, so his Krishna consciousness actually increased a lot. Huh? When Bharat Maharaj came as deer and finally when he came as Jad Bharat, his Krishna consciousness actually amplified. So because these devotees, their Krishna consciousness has amplified, therefore no commentator of the Shastra actually criticize their falling down. Rather, their falling down is always considered to be the divine mercy of the Supreme Lord. Whereas these, yogis, when about their falling down, it has been much criticized in Shastra. That is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this particular two verses of Garbhastuti. The point is, the falling down a devotee is always considered to be the mercy of the Supreme Lord in a special arrangement because they come back with amplified Krishna consciousness. Whereas the yogis are falling down because of not taking to the shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, because they lack the mercy of Lord Balaram, and thus they lack spiritual strength. Physically, they may perform any kinds of austerity uh, and penances, but finally their senses are still uncontrolled. The reason being, they have not achieved the mercy of Lord Balaram, and thus because they lack the pleasure of relationship with Lord Krishna, as a result, they fall down. And this is what has been explained by Narad Muni to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Narad Muni is actually uh, telling Vyasadeva that although you have written so many scriptures, you have talked about impersonal liberation, you have talked about yoga and other things, but you have not profusely glorified bhakti. You have not profusely glorified the pastimes of Lord Krishna. You have not profusely glorified the results one derive when they have attachment and relationship with Lord Krishna. So, so we can see the correlation that this Balaram controlling mind and senses, the strength comes only when somebody has uh, when somebody is engaged in service of Lord Krishna. And the duty of Balaram, the original guru, and his representative as gurus is to engage conditioned soul in service of Lord Krishna so that one derives transcendental pleasure. And by the dint of this transcendental pleasure, by the strength of this transcendental pleasure, one gets strength to control mind and senses. Even if they fall in some unfavorable circumstances, their comeback is 100 times amplified. So that is how it has been explained in Shastra. Another thing that we see in Lord Balaram, that Lord Balaram has killed certain demons. Many times I quote this beautiful verse from Ramchitmana, it's my favorite, that how we should see killing of demons. Because when I came to Krishna consciousness, And to understand the, everything is perfect till ninth canto, things look logical to me. The 10th canto was a very difficult task because when we hear that Lord Krishna killing so many big demons, so we used to think from our mundane perspective that 5,000 years back such big demons used to come. Doesn't look like a fairy tale? Doesn't it look like kind of stories? Because how can you just accept that this is a place called Vrindavan and Brajabhumi, and big demons used to come, and Putana used to come, and Bakasur and Agasur used to come. So it always was a mystery for me. And then we came across a very beautiful book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Krishna Samhita and Chaitanya Shikshamrita. These two books actually, which actually make us understand that how this divine pastimes has relevance to our own lives. So after I went through some certain articles of these books, where these demons actually represent the what we call the demons and anarthas within our heart, it becomes quite interesting. Now, when Shastra and Bhagavatam explains that when Sur used to come, and this Dhenuka Sur was so big that his head used to touch clouds. So now, what exactly this Dhenuka Sur is? So Dhenuka Sur is that donkey demon, and what exactly this donkey does? So donkey is known for carrying weight. Uh, Shastra says that uh, Bhagavatam Krishna explains to Uddhava that this body is consist of kaph and bile and mucus, and whoever considers the place of their birth as worshipable, and whoever considers the tirtha sthan just to be the place of bathing, they are no more than ass or cows. So that is how it explains. Sa eva gokharaha. So what donkeys does, when donkeys go, when in earlier days people used to go out for pilgrimage, and they used to put so much weight on donkeys, and then used to go to Himalayas for pilgrimage and different tirthas. But donkey used to carry the weight, and donkeys used to return with the same weight. So what exactly happened with donkeys? What they actually gained? They went to the pilgrimage with the load, and same load. Sometimes even whenever devotees travel to Puri, so they purchase so many things. So similarly, when people used to go to different pilgrimages, they used to carry certain load on donkeys. But when they go to pilgrimage, even they do marketing and shopping, and then they carry extra weight, put them, load it on donkeys, and come back. So that means the donkey is going with say X amount of weight, but coming down with 2x amount of weight, so much load. And that is how happens with our consciousness. We go to pilgrimage, but if you don't associate with devotees there, so we carry the same load of materialism, and we come back with the same load, and sometimes we even carry double load. We try to find out faults with the people there. We try to find out faults with the pujaris and pandas there in the system there, and even we pollute our consciousness more. So Dhenukas will represent the load taking capacity. We all have that load taking capacity. It's not just the physical load. It's actually the so much pressure we take on our mind. We tend to overthink. We tend to amplify the problem. It is said mind. Mind. The M stands for magnifies the problem. So when we lack association of devotees, and when we lack spiritual guidance, when we are not in touch with Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are not in touch with the scriptures, when we are not in touch with holy name, our mind has this tendency to magnify the problems, because this demon called Dhenukasur is sitting within our heart. It's all taking all loads. So before coming to Krishna consciousness, even sometime after coming to Krishna consciousness, if we don't take our spiritual practices seriously, and we tend to compromise with our standards. So what happens is our mind has this absorbing tendency because of the demon Dhenakusur is sitting within our heart, and the result is all what's going around in world we take it so seriously. We tend to forget that what is temporary and what is permanent. Actually, it is said in that whoever wants to stay in ashram for brahmacharis and monks, it is said one who can tolerate the harsh words of the seniors and harsh words of peers, they can comfortably sustain in the ashram, it is said. But as we go out for preaching and there is tarang rangini, we get so much extra benefits. We get people, we get resources, we get money, we get respect, we get followers, and everybody is trying to serve us, trying to appreciate us. As a result, these are all what we call the byproducts of bhakti. And when we try to rejoice all these byproduct of bhakti, that is what Vishwanath Thakur says as Taranga Rangini, one of the anarthas that has come out of bhakti. Because of bhakti, this anartha has come out. When we try it, when we seek, when we rejoice in all these externals, and when we get chastisement by sadhus and good instruction by sadhus in our association, senior to us, it becomes literally intolerable. So the point is, instead, bhakti should help us to give up our anarthas, but actually sometimes it increases our anarthas when when we are not careful enough. So even after practicing Krishna consciousness, we hold this tendency that we try to take, there will be inevitable backbiting, there will be inevitable blasphemy. There now we see when as our Krishna consciousness movement is growing now, everywhere on social media people are blaspheming ISKCON devotees, and that's very natural. Uh, and why is it so? Because it is not that we have to become popular. The point is, all these things are created by material energy. Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna explains to Uddhava in the 11th canto that one should not take blasphemy or criticism or glorification very seriously. The moment we take it seriously, that means our Dhenukasura demon is very active within our heart, and we are taking either blasphemy or criticism or respect seriously. These are all, anarthas. And what Gurudev does, or Lord Balram did, Balram killed Dhenukasur. When we take shelter of spiritual master, and by the instruction of spiritual master, he actually kills the Dhenukasur within our heart. And what is this Dhenukasur? He was doing. Dhenukasur was actually absorbing this either criticism or blasphemy or glorification, and we tend to take it seriously. But the instruction Lord Krishna gives it to Uddhava is one should not take it seriously. Chanakya Pandit said that we should always meditate upon what is anityam. Nityataha, that means eternally we should meditate upon what is not eternal. That means the glorification, the criticism, the situation of this world, the geopolitics, the family issues, and issues within the community, society. These are all tests posed by Maya to distract us. And it happens that many times devotees have these issues. When we approach our counselor, when we approach our spiritual master, 90% time we tend to ask them that, the certain devotee said this, and, certain devotee did this to us, and we are in a very unpleasant state of consciousness now because, the management did something to us, the devotees did something to us, and we forget that these are not the right questions that are to be posed. Right question is how to become Krishna conscious. The right question is how to become transcendental to all these worldly situations. But we take these worldly things very seriously because of the Dhinakus demon. And what Gurudev does by his transcendental uh, instructions, or by his spiritual instructions, he trying to pull us above all these situations. It is said that the situation of material world cannot be altered. If somebody is thinking that I can or anything can actually change the course of material world, this is our ignorance. Material world will go this in the same way it was going thousands of years back, and it will continue in a similar manner even after thousands of years. It's not that we can change the course of material world, it's only we need to transcend ourselves. So killing of this Dhenukasur means Gurudev, by his instruction, is actually helping us to become transcendental so that we don't take anything of this world very seriously. And of course, this is very difficult. In fact, as we move on in our spiritual journey and we get, so much importance, and the slightest inconvenience can become what we call havoc in our, consciousness. It can create havoc in our consciousness, because as things goes on very, beautifully, we tend to become complacent. I was quite some back. I was hearing beautiful lecture by Srila Radhanath Maharaj, and Maharaj was explaining that why Krishna allows his devotee to come to this difficult platform, difficult situation, so that we do not become complacent, so that we do not become comfortable with the worldly things, and so that we can have impetus and inspiration to become transcendental. And the question arises, why people have this what we call unrealistic expectation of a spiritual society, of a spiritual association, of the spiritual mind, that there should not be any difficulty, everything should be smooth and perfect. And that is how we wrongly advertise spiritual life. We tell people that if you follow, practice Krishna consciousness, all your problems will be gone. But that's not the fact. The fact is, all these problems will now, earlier being in material consciousness, we were trying to solve the problem, but now we are trying to become transcendental to this problem, understanding well the nature of this material world. And that is the mercy of Lord Balaram, that he kills this dhinakosa tendency within our heart, and help us to become transcendental. There is another demon killed by Lord Balaram called Pralambasur. Now, this is very interesting demon. Different acharyas have actually commented in a different way. Pralambasur, he thought that my role is to kill Krishna. But the point is, Krishna is always protected by Balaram. Now, if I want to kill Krishna, Balaram will come and he'll not allow me to fulfill my plans. So rather, I should now kill Balaram. And how to kill Balaram? So the Brajavasis, the Gopas, they were playing this tug of war, and Pralambasur actually joined party of Krishna. So on one side there is party of Krishna, where Pralambasur is also there, and he has disguised himself as he's disguised himself as a Gopa. And here on the opposite side is Balram and his party. And then there is tug of war, and Krishna's party lost. And as per the agreement, Krishna's party had to carry the winners on their shoulders. So Krishna had to carry someone. Similarly, Balram was carried by Pralambasur. And then Pralambasur had to carry Balram and walk around in different places because their party lost. But what Pralambasur did, he uh, he uh, carried Balram and took Balram to a distinct place, and then uh, expanded himself into a giant demon. And finally, Lord Balram was he pushed the demon and killed him. Now, uh, what exactly this incident is? Pralambasur has disguised himself. He is not a Gopa, but he is now looking as a Gopa. And what Balram did? Balram actually exposed him. So, as I said, the different commentators have categorized these different demons in different ways. One understanding is this Pralambasur is a tendency within our heart to when we go to the spiritual master, we don't actually show off our real face. We try to show off that how nice I am, and how perfect I am, how good I am. And actually, I am not at all at fault. It's, these people are actually creating trouble, but actually, I am a very good person. And that is how we justify ourselves. This is how we uh, create a barrier so that Gurudev cannot actually, really enter into our heart and see our shortcomings. We ourselves create this barrier. Sometimes, even when we go to Gurudev and we go to senior devotees and we say, "Oh my, oh my Gurudev, oh devotees, I am so fallen." So, although in lips we say that we are so fallen, but the reality is we want some kind of validation that let devotees say, "Oh yes, this person is really humble." So, as per the definition given by Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, humility means one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. That means real humility means we don't want any kind of attention. Real humility means we don't want to impress others. But we become humble simply so that we can, show people that how humble we are. So much humility is there within our heart. So by our words, by our actions, the result is we do not allow spiritual master to enter within our heart and to find out our shortcomings. These are all barriers, and rather it should be exactly opposite. We should allow Gurudev to to see our shortcomings. We should allow senior devotees and mentors to see our shortcomings and guide them. And as I said, that when they guide us, it is very, very painful, because when they are applying our field of heart, it is intolerable. But that's the whole remedy. That's the remedy that they are meant for our purification. So Pralambasur is the attitude within our heart to hide our shortcomings and to try to become something that we are not. When Lord Ramachandra was moving around in Dandakaranya, and he came near Lord Balaram, this Sugriva's place, and Sugriva was on the mountain, and he thought these two gentlemen, the Kshatriya gentlemen, must have been sent by Bali to kill me. And then he sent Hanuman to find out who these people are. And Hanuman, he became like a Brahmin and went to Lord Ramachandra, offered obeisances, and said, Sir, who you are, and who is this man with you, and why you're roaming around in this place. And he was trying to show off as if he is a very Sanskrit, he's a great Sanskrit scholar and a great Pandit. And then Ramchandra very humbly said that I am son of king of Ayodhya. I'm Dashrath's son, Ram, and this is my younger brother Lakshman. And our wife has been kidnapped. Uh, so she's missing. So we are here to search her. And when Hanuman, who has disguised himself as a Brahmin, so immediately he came to his real form and offered obeisances. And then he asked, My dear Lord, see, I am a monkey and naturally I lack intelligence, so I could not recognize you. But you are the supreme Lord of all the worlds, and you are sitting in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Everything is known to you. So, although I could not recognize you, how come you could not recognize me? And then, Lord Ramachandra said, See, if somebody is simple and straightforward, you know, uh, I, I immediately accept them. But if somebody is kind of, is trying to become what he is not, and trying to, create this hindrance by disguising himself. It is said that, when we go to the Lord, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, there is a beautiful prayers by Sanatan Goswami where he says that, My dear Lord, what can I reveal to you? Even I am becoming shameful. If I have done so much, bad things, that I myself is shameful. But still, we should go to the Lord and we should admit that we are in a very difficult situation. We should not dis. We can hide ourselves from people. That's natural, but we should at least not hide ourselves from the Lord. So here, Lord Ramachandra is saying that somebody who hides himself, try to disguise himself in front of me. So je jathamam prapadyante. If you are trying to disguise yourself, so I also try to disguise myself. You are not open before me, so I am also not open before you. But Gurudev is far more merciful than the Lord. And therefore he said, Gurudev is the incarnation, is the mercy incarnation of the Lord. Krishna Kripa Shri Murti. Uh, when the mercy of the Lord takes the form, it becomes Gurudev. And what is his greatest mercy? Because Lord has said, Je Jathamam Prapadante Tan Sate Bhaja. You are disguising yourself before me, so I'll also disguise myself before you. You're not becoming open to me, I'll not become open to you. It's a crystal clear transaction. But Gurudev says, no, no, no. This is how, if this will continue, a conditioned soul who is always disguising himself in the front of Lord will never receive the mercy. So what Gurudev is doing, Gurudev coming in picture is killing these pralambha sur tendencies within our heart. And the reason, and what is this pralambha sur tendency? To disguise ourselves, to tell lies, to not open our real face. And then what Gurudev does, he kills the pralambha sur and bring us to the real position. We remember there's a beautiful pastime in Srila Prabhupada's, we have read, it is in uh, Prabhupada Memories, Satsvarup Maharaj writes. So Prabhupada was somewhere, and a devotee brought a famous actress uh, to meet Srila Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada was just asking, how are you and what you're doing like this? And that famous actress, she was, just like she used to meet everyone in a very superficial and artificial way. Similarly, she was meeting Srila Prabhupada. Although this should not be done. In India, we see when actors and actresses come to the sadhus, they come in a very humble and natural way, try to understand. They at least in India that they have that culture that we should be submissive and honest towards sadhu. But this actress, she was trying to show off and she was very superficial in dealing with Srila Prabhupada. And immediately Prabhupada chastised her and said, what you are thinking? You are a beautiful heroine. You are nothing more than a spirit soul. And there the devotee writes, Sasupa has written there, devotee, he's noting out a relation. It is said that for the first time, this, heroine must have, got someone who could directly see within her heart like this. That means Prabhupada is not seeing the superficiality, is not impressed by the superficiality or the externals. He's always he is looking at the heart directly and finding out the conditioned nature of that person. And that is the greatest mercy of spiritual master. Spiritual master is not attracted by the externals. He's always attracted by the internal beauty. And that internal beauty means if somebody is simple, if somebody, has, attraction for Krishna, or even if not, if somebody is honest, is there's a word called simplicity. In Sanskrit, it is called arjavam. And Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj explained the definition of arjavam means simplicity means, what is simplicity? Somebody is simple. We consider, simplicity means just like the Gandhian philosophy, somebody is slapping me here, I should show the another cheek. That's not simplicity as per Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj. Gaur Govind Maharaj explains simplicity means unflinching faith on the words of Shastra and instructions of spiritual master. Now, this is a very unique definition of simplicity that we have heard. Simplicity, we think that somebody is humble, somebody is in a humble cloth, somebody is, is living very austere or, poor lifestyle, and, he's meeting with everyone. I think he's a simple guy. That maybe externally it may look simplicity, but actual simplicity means unflinching faith on the words of spiritual master. And that's a very unique definition because according to this definition, we are very much far away from simplicity. Unflinching faith on the words of spiritual master. And spiritual master is killing our pralambasura tendencies that and bringing actual simplicity to our heart. That we may not get disguised. We must not disguise ourselves, and we must not show off what we are not. So spiritual master or the Lord does not reciprocate with someone who is disguising himself. But spiritual master is far more merciful. He kills our pralambasura tendencies. And last point I would like to cover that in Mahabharata we see that Balaram is very favorable towards Duryodhana and very strong and harsh toward Arjun. When we read Mahabharata or even we see Mahabharata serial, we see like this. Now, somebody may ask that why Lord Balram has special attraction and he's giving special attention to Duryodhana then why not to Arjuna? And we see this in multiple phases. For example, uh, Lord Balram wanted to get Subhadra married to Duryodhana. It was Krishna's plan that Arjun should kidnap Subhadra and get her married. And after, during the Gada Yuddha of Bhima and Duryodhan, so when Bhima actually attacked Duryodhana, and as per the rules decided by Bhishma before the war, that Gada Yuddha, one cannot uh, push Gada on the lower side of the body. But Krishna purposefully showed Bhim that you must kill him here. You should stuck him here. And Bhima did. As a result, Duryodhana collapsed. And at that time, Balram came, and he was giving favor to Duryodhana. He became too much, you know. Although Bhima and Duryodhana both are disciples of Balaram, but Balram was always showing much more favor to Duryodhana and not to Bhima. Now, this is a very striking understanding. Although Balram is the Supreme Lord, non-different from Krishna, is the first expansion of Krishna, plus Lord Balaram is the original Guru, but why is favoring Duryodhana so much? Again, Srila Gauragovinda Maharaj, explains this in his books, and Madhavananda Prabhu in his magazine, he wrote very beautiful article on this. Actually, there are two types of mercy that spiritual master gives. One is called Sakapat mercy, as other is called Nishkapat mercy. Mercy with cheating and mercy without cheating. Just like Lord Shiva. If somebody, presently the Savana month is going on, when what is Sakapat Kripa of Lord Shiva? That person gets fame, name, wealth, but and just like Ravana derived everything from Lord Shiva. But when actually the time came, uh, Lord Shiva did not favor Ravana, and he was killed by Lord Ramachandra. So we can conclude that Ravana actually got the mercy called Sakapat Kripa, mercy with cheating. But Nishkapat mercy means when somebody derives Krishna Bhakti from Lord Shiva. That's the original mercy of Lord Shiva. Similarly, Guru, there are many people who join the movement. There are many people who join the institution. Many people who come to the spiritual path, and they come closer to Gurudev, not with the intention to grow spiritually, but their intention sometimes is to get some kind of external adoration. They have some ulterior motives, and they want to get favor of Gurudev to enhance their own respect and enhance their own prestige within the society. They want to show their closeness with their Guru, not because they want to become. They have this priority as to become spiritually advanced, but they want to show off it to others, that how fortunate and special I am because I am getting so much mercy of Gurudev. And it's a very natural tendency within all of our hearts. In fact, I can say when my spiritual master was present in this world, uh, although I got a good chance to associate with him, but whenever I used to sit in his classes, my only attention was that he should give me special, mercy, special favor, special words of appreciation. It was always there within my heart. And presently, when I reflect back, see, I was there with my spiritual master, at least, you know, uh, although I shifted to another place, used to get less association, but I could not listen to his lecture. Srila Gorgobind Maharaj writes in somewhere that somebody who has material desires within his heart, he cannot actually entertain Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha cannot enter to his ears. And when I reflect back today, I see that when spiritual master was there, I used to sit in his class, I used to sit in front, but I always used to think that the spiritual master should always give me some kind of glance, some kind of smile, and some kind of words of appreciation, which he did. But if I remember that, I cannot even remember single instruction that he's given. Now, after his departure, I am actually feeling his presence more, because now that consideration that I am a special devotee, I must get his special favor, I must get his special attention, and let everyone knows that, the spiritual master is, he knows me. And, so this has now evaporated. This feeling has now evaporated, which was there when he was present physically, and I could not actually receive his mercy. So the Duryodhana kind of tendency is actually creating a barrier to receive actual mercy of spiritual master. And that we do not focus when spiritual master is present, we could not focus on his real mercy. Rather, we simply become attached to superficial attention, smiles, and although these are all important things, this is, I remember, once upon a time I was traveling, and we were all students were going to Mayapur in train. We were there in Ujjain, and during the journey there was Ekadashi. So one of my colleague, one of my students friend, my friend, uh, he that day performed Nirjala. He did not eat or drink, and as usual I was eating a lot. And next day, when after Parana, everybody was glorifying that devotee. Everybody was, glorifying, and I naturally become, quite envious. See, he's getting so much attention because I was stuck to all those externals. So whole day, everybody was simply glorifying him till the point we reached Mayapur. We settled up, we took bath, and finally we went to our Guru Maharaj's quarter. And there, I was in a very depressed state of mind because I was feeling completely envious. My friend got so much recognition, and I could not get it. So it was there within my. My heart was burning. Sansara davanadal. That's the true situation. And just see, I was sitting at the corner of the room, and spiritual master actually knows everything. That's how what the proof is, because I was not getting any kind of attention. I was not getting any kind of special prerogative as my friends were getting. So I was feeling morose. I could not say this to anyone, but it's there within my heart. And Gurudev, being the expansion of Paramatma, could understand everything. So immediately what happened, I was sitting in the corner of my room, and immediately my spiritual master told me, "Oh, Tukaram, you're also here." Uh, and then the next line he spoke, "Oh, Tukaram is becoming very famous in ISKCON now." Now I could understand my desire was to get some fame, my desire was to get some external, some kind of attention, appreciation. And when he spoke like this, immediately Sansara Davanala Leader Loka, Tranaya Karunya Ghana Ghanatam. By the mercy of spiritual master, all immediately that fire got settled up. Actually, nobody could settle that fire. It was only spiritual master. But this was all external things I was desiring. Now, when I reflect back, see, my entire 5, 6, 7 years of association went back into that kind of consideration. Now I am reflecting back that I have missed, actually, I have missed the spiritual instructions of my spiritual master. So this is Duryodhana kind of tendency. The Balram is giving special attention to Duryodhana does not mean that Balram is actually favorable toward Duryodhana. It was Duryodhana's need of appreciation, attention, and special. That is what Balram was fulfilling. But real mercy was flowing towards Bhima, and thus Bhima got attached to Krishna. That's the real mercy of uh, Balram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Tukaram Prabhu. What a brilliant class. I love it. So, yeah, Prabhupada wanted the instructive class, philosophical class. Thank you so much. Very nicely covered. Impromptu, that too. Yeah. So, that is, can remember is only Bhakti Charaswami Maharaj's instruction has coming through him to you. So, wonderful. Okay, any questions, dear devotees? Please ask. Go ahead. Somebody raised one. Who is that? Keshav Mahaprabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is Tukaram Prabhu ki jai. Such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. I am really very grateful to you. I really required to hear this class today, and I'm very grateful to you for this class. Prabhuji, you mentioned an important point within the class that we do not get to understand our faults, our hidden disguises until unless we meet Sri Guru, until unless we go and confide with Sri Guru. But many a times it becomes difficult even after confiding with Sri Guru as to how to overcome that. even though it is our sincere desire that we do not want to be fault finding. Externally, we might put up this guise of being a humble devotee, but internally, somewhere here and there, time and again, that demon of finding faults keeps on lurking in our mind. My mind, not our, my mind. So please, can you instruct me, Prabhuji? And furthermore, I have another question, but you can please help me with this one right now.
Mm. Actually, Proji, we all are struggling with similar, what we call challenges. That although we know the ideal standards, we know the ideal gas equation, but we are on the real gas platform. The point is, uh, at least during my practice, my journey of Krishna consciousness, one thing I have, I would not say realized, but one thing, one kind of, or partially realized, or to some extent that realization is there. The process itself is very powerful. So, certain things, quite recently, I'll give an example. So, some time back, maybe 2, 3 months back, I was struggling a lot with my mind and senses. And that moment, we had this Nitai Sevani Mataji and Samba Prabhu. So, they came to Bhubaneswar. They came for attending marriage of Basu Ghosh Prabhu's son. So, we brought them to our IIT center and they gave a very beautiful class. And I asked them a question that, even after practicing for so many years now, still, mind and senses, there's a lot of struggle. So I was asking this kind of question. So Samba Prabhu, from his perspective, he instructed me a lot because he said, it's very natural. One suffers, one struggles with mind and senses. He said, since you are a Punjabi by birth, you have that Rajoguni body, and naturally you'll have more, tormenting situation. You should control your eating and other things. And then he said, see, you already passed your prime youth in Krishna consciousness. If you can tolerate a bit, you can easily manage. And so many things he was instructing. And Nitai Sevani Mataji, she gave a very different perspective of my question. She said that sometimes Krishna does not immediately remove all the obstacles. And this is a very, even if you are practicing, even if you practice, to 100% sincerity and with eagerness and enthusiasm, and we, take it very seriously, we pray, we cry, but still Krishna does not do it. And the reason being, so this is a very unique perspective. Why Krishna does not immediately uh, cleanse one's situation? The reason being that one thing is that we tend to become stagnant, or we tend to become complacent when situation goes all right. Now, for a devotee, externals are not that important, because we have understood, what Trump is saying and what Modi is saying and what governments are doing. Shastra says that Kali Yuga there will be difficulties, and financial difficulties, and if we can understand it's all coming because of our karma, and we can understand, situation, all material world, it's all mirage, everything. We can, all these instructions are there within our mind, so we can understand. But uh, the situation of our heart, difficult position and uh, difficult issues that we are dealing with within our heart, we don't have any answer to it. External, because this is directly connected to our Krishna consciousness, so we immediately doubt that maybe our Krishna consciousness is not that perfect, and therefore our heart is not becoming purified. But Mataji explained that it's not that we are not practicing it wisely, or we are not practicing it sincerely. It's because Krishna wants to even take us deeper and deeper and deeper. So that is why, even if Krishna wants, immediately he can, remove all that kind of situation, but he doesn't do that. And therefore we see even the devotees who are, practicing Krishna consciousness for so long, apparently they struggle within their heart. And this is special arrangement for Krishna, by made by Krishna, so that we do not become complacent, and become even more deeply absorbed and take shelter. And that's a and the Prabhuji, another realization that I have felt, when things actually goes, comfortably, we do not get that pleasure of shelter when, as we get, when things are in a turmoil situation. Bhagavatam says, there is a beautiful verse that Dhaut Atma Purusha Krishna Padamulam Namunchati Mukta Sarva Pari Klesha Pantha Soshannam Yatha. A pathik, a traveler, when he's traveling around during summers in a difficult time, and when he come back to his home, switch on the AC, drink cool water, the pleasure that he derives, similar pleasure devotee derives, when he takes shelter of Krishna. So until unless we don't feel the turmoils of this material world internally, especially uh, internally, to that extent, we'll not be able to appreciate the pleasure of Sharanagati. And therefore, advanced devotees have always asked for that kind of turmoil. Now, it's a very just like separation in material world is painful. But for in spiritual perspective, separation is the greatest ecstasy. Similarly, turmoils are painful in material understanding, but turmoils within our heart are greatest blessings for us to deeply cherish and relish, Sharanagati. That is how devotees have explained. So that is my understanding. So when I struggle with it, I personally feel that it is all special attention of Krishna to me, so that he's giving me chance to go even deeper. That is how I take it.
Very fair, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very grateful to you.
Anybody else? If nobody else, you will go with question 2.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm just waiting for that.
Looks like nobody else has question. Go ahead. Why don't you go with part 2?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, the philosophy of considering and understanding that whatever pain is coming to me is coming because of my own karma, and but when if in case the situation is physical or grossly verbal, wherein some devotee is actually one hurting or second cheating, then how do we consider that it is Lord's mercy for me to improve myself rather than actually defending?
Very difficult thing. Yeah. So, Prabhuji, like from a devotee's practical perspective, I always refer that being a devotee does not mean that we become careless in our material dealings, and we do not strive for justice. So therefore, I personally refer that two books are very important for a devotee. One book is Bhagavad Gita, because it helps us to transcend. But how to live within this world, another book is Chanakya Niti. Fortunately, in ISKCON now we have Chanakya Niti. So Chanakya Niti help us to understand, how we must deal within this world. How much to trust someone, how much not to trust someone, how much close we should go to someone, how much away we should be with someone, how to deal with different situations. So many practical understanding is there. Sometimes what happens in our devotee community, when we say everything is our karma, everything is, meant by, done by Krishna, given, special mercy of Krishna. So then we try to override the practical aspects of our, life. And then again, I would say it is not perfect, because when we see in our Acharya's life, it's not that our Acharyas have not fought court cases. In the name that, there is a book called Radha Sudha Nidhi. And Gaudiya Vaishnava claims that this is written by Prabodhananda Saraswati. And Prabodhananda Saraswati is from Gaudiya Sampradaya. Whereas this Hit Harivamsha, they say that, it is written by Prabodhananda Saraswati, but Prabodhananda Saraswati is uh, is the disciple of Hit Harivansha. So it is the Hit Harivansha treatise. And then this particular case is going in court. For years and years, it is going in court. So now we say, everything is Krishna's mercy. Why we should go to court? Why we should seek for justice? Or somebody has cheated me, I should not, it was all Krishna's mercy. So this is again the very artificial way of dealing with things. That is not a very conducive way of dealing with the situation. So everything we cannot ascertain it is Krishna's mercy. Sometimes it happens. So for example, recently we came across a very difficult situation in ISKCON in India. Um, a certain group of devotees could not get justice by the bureaus, and then they made their own organization in the name of ISKCON, and separated from ISKCON, and then they started preaching in Bihar. And now is the entire ISKCON is kind of concerned. And when you talk with this to some devotees, the simple answer is, it is all Krishna's arrangements for the higher good. You see, we cannot just brush away our shortcomings, our inexperienced way of dealing, and our lack of proper management, and we call it that it is all Krishna's mercy. That is how it doesn't work. So we have to be very mindful in our dealing. We should learn the practical aspects. At the same time, at heart, we should be Krishna conscious. So sometimes when I personally have what we call, I do not accept devotees this kind of argument that everything is Krishna's mercy. If somebody is cheating me, let me get cheated. If somebody is slapping me, let me get slapped. That is how our acharyas have not done. Prabhupada, when there was even a loss of single penny, he became too disturbed. How can he lose Krishna's money like that? Prabhupada never said, "Oh, it's all Krishna desire. Let me lose money." So our achar is Mahajano Yena Gatha Sa Pantha. It's not just about transcendental dealings. It's also about worldly dealings. We should learn from our acharyas that how meticulous they were dealing while dealing with this. It is said that we should deal in this material world even when we are dealing with devotees. We should, because although devotees are devotees practicing Krishna consciousness, but every one of us are conditioned, and because of that conditioned nature, will have difficulties. So just like when we deal, it is said that we should deal with materialistic people just like we are dealing with snake, very careful. Similarly, when we are dealing with devotees, we should understand that it's all conditioned. Everybody is conditioned to certain extent, and even if devotees at heart their intention is pure, but being conditioned, they'll do something which may not look appropriate. Recently, last to last year, we did a project here in Bhubaneswar, and we collected some money from devotees for making that project, and we wanted to give them cottage, and somehow we ended into legal difficulties, and now that money got stuck. Everybody is now calling me and asking for their money. So now I can, at heart, I am pure. I don't want to cheat anyone, but because I have taken that money given to the landlord, it's already stuck, and now I am nowhere. So who can trust? Now everybody will say that this devotee is, he's cheated. Although I have not cheated, my intention was not to cheat. But see, by the stringent laws of material nature,
Arrangement.
we got struggled, we got strangled. So therefore, for practical aspect, we should understand, we should learn how to deal even within devotee community. I hope that I could, um,
Very satisfactory, Prabhuji.
yeah.
Grateful to you. Very, very satisfactory. Grateful to you.
So, thank you.
Sandeep Prabhu, if you are there, please go ahead. If not, we'll conclude. And Sandeep Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanyavad
Go
Pranam.
ahead.
All glories
This
to
is the
Prabhu.
last question. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class. I joined a little late. Sorry about that. But, it was very, very like eye-opening class. And, I think you already answered my question, right? So while I would raise my hand. So, I was going through some lot of court cases.
Hare Krishna, Gauri, you're not audible. Hare Krishna.